Shalom, shalom, shalom. Brother Jose coming at you again with another video. Fisherman for Zion. Through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahweh, who the world uses as the title God, and his son, who the world calls Jesus Christ. Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua HaMashiach. Through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Don't count this as a light thing. Lord willing, this will be edifying. Lord willing, this will help you in your walk of faith through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Before we get into it, all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua Yahushua. Call of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua HaMashiach. All praises to the Most High, Heavenly Father, and his Son, Yahweh Shah, the Messiah. Peace and blessings to those that are striving and enduring, still in this thing, waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Yahweh Shah to the best of their ability. Those that are going out, the men, the mighty men that are going out day in and day out, week by week, to do the work of the Lord, spread forth this gospel to the elect. Those are scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth, going out on the highways and byways in the rain, dealing with the elements, dealing with their infirmities and their sicknesses and their pain and their sufferings and their trials and tribulations. Peace and blessings to you and to the elders that been in this thing as well, that I learned from, that we all learn from, that walk the walk before us. Peace and blessings to you as well. Continue to strive and endure to the second coming of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. And to those that are not on the highways and byways, that are praying, fasting, reading, repenting to the best of their ability, keeping the feast days to the best of their ability, studying, going over notes, watching videos, and doing all they can. Peace and blessings to you as well. And to the wives of the husbands, peace and blessings to you. And taking care of your household, reverencing your husbands, doing all you can. Most High bless you. Continue to endure to the second coming of Mashiach Yahweh Shah. To those that are not married, peace and blessings to you. Continue to present your body, live a sacrifice. Continue to do all you can in these last days. Doing a video, mainly talking about, stop watching pornography and stop masturbating, man. You gotta stop. You gotta repent. You gotta stop. Stop watching pornography and stop masturbating. That's a thing a lot of people don't like to talk about. They get real sensitive and real emotional when you start talking about stuff like this. They try to hide, try to duck off, try to leave the room, try to leave the scene. They don't want to talk about things like this, but we got to talk about it. We got to talk about the things that may keep you from the kingdom of heaven. Standing right in front, face to face, seeing the Messiah, because if you think you're going to make it into the kingdom of heaven with watching pornography or masturbating, you gotta reevaluate yourself and your whole life and your walk and whatever you thinking, however you thinking, or whatever it is that you're doing, because nobody in their right mind that's trying to be righteous should think that it's okay to, lust and covet certain things when the scriptures say contrary. You have to examine, you have to look at the whole road. You have to look at A and Z. You have to look at Alpha and Omega. You have to look at the front and the back and see what it is, because you should not be thinking that it's okay to masturbate and to watch pornography. It's so many evils and, and wickedness that goes hand in hand with that, and before we get into the scriptures, the precepts, we have to think about this, man. You really have to think about this, because it shouldn't be something that you should be scared to talk about or uncomfortable. So like uncomfortable with talking about. You should be comfortable with talking about things that can preserve and magnify your salvation and your deliverance from getting out of this captivity, And a lot of people, they deal with these things mainly because it's a lack of faith, and because they think it's something the Most High can't take away, or something impossible. It's not impossible. Let me get this precept right quick. Nothing is too hard for the Most High. He can deal with anything. He can take away anything, So this is Matthew. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to the Gospels. This is Matthew chapter 17, and I'm going to start at verse 20. Matthew chapter 17 and verse 20, and it reads, "And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief." You know, a lot of people, they say they believe, but they deal with some type of belief deep underneath the surface. They deal with some type of unbelief. You know, they holding on to one thing, but they kind of let go of another thing. Reading on Matthew chapter 17 and verse 20. "And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you." You know, so hey, why if you believe in the Lord, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Alpha, the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the ending, why would you not think, or why would you think that, you know, he can't deal with something? You know, you may have done some things in the past where you think, well, the Lord is not going to forgive me. You know, how could he forgive me? I'm such a bad person. I've done some bad things. You know, you don't want your conscience to, you know, jam you up and have you getting tossed to and fro. But you want to try to be well rooted and grounded and anchored in the Lord, mainly in the Word, and most importantly, you know, having faith. You know, so let's go to Mark, because this thing is set up. You know, this thing is set up for us to, you know, forsake ourselves, man, and come and come before the Lord. So let's go to Mark, touching on the same thing. Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 27. Mark chapter 10 and verse 27. "And Yahushua, looking upon them, said, with men it is impossible, but not with God, for with God all things are possible." You see that? So, hey, no temptation or, you know, no mountain is too big to take away for the Lord. There's nothing too heavy or too small or too light, or, you know, for the Lord to just remove it from you, you know. But you have to have faith, and you have to believe in the Lord that he can do that. You know, while you're forsaking, you know, everything that's before you, and coming before the Lord, you know. So let's go to Mark chapter 14 right quick. Because you're going to have temptations. You're going to have tests. You're going to have things that try to come around you, try to, you know, get put on you, but you have to fight. You know, you can't just say, well, you know, I'm going to just continue to do this until it's taken away from me. You got to fight. You know, if you was a professional boxer or an amateur boxer or whatever, you know, you trying to prepare for a fight, you're not about to just say, okay, all right, you know, the fight coming up in 3 months, so I'm going to just sit around and wait on this fight, you know. And then when it's time for you to get in the ring, you know, you ain't prepared or did nothing. You know, you gotta fight, man. You gotta prepare for the fight. You gotta go through routines. You gotta go through some training, and you gotta go through all type of stuff to get ready for this fight. You know, that's just like the kingdom of heaven. You know, you gotta train. You know, you gotta you gotta keep the feast days to the best of your ability. You gotta keep the law, statute, commandments to the best of your ability. You gotta pray. You gotta fast. You gotta be in the Word. You know, you gotta prepare to see the Lord with your spirit, with spiritual things, before you actually see the Lord in the flesh. You know, hey, because any and everybody is not about to come before the Lord, you know, and just say, okay, you know, well, I appreciate you dying for me. You know, it was rough out there. Now it's time for us to really meet. You know, I always wanted to meet you. No, man, you know, he didn't lay down his life for you to just live a comfortable life and just do what you want to do. You know, hey, the Messiah did not just lay down his life and get put to death so you can just have your way, or whatever you think Matthew, so like in Mark chapter 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 38. Mark chapter 14 and verse 38. And it reads, watch ye and pray. And a lot of times you have these desires that come upon you, and all these trials and these tests and temptations. A lot of people, they don't pray them away. They don't want to say, oh man, I'm burning, I don't know what to do. Let me pray. Let me call Allah Yahweh by Shemi Abishah. Call Allah Yahweh by Shemi Abishah. Call Allah Yahweh by Shemi Abishah. By Shemi Abishah Mashiach. By Shemi Abishah Mashiach. They don't want to call upon the Lord for help. They just sit there and just let Satan continue to beat them down. You can't do that, man. What was Christ doing when he was dealing with his sufferings and his agony and his distress? Was he just walking around and just saying, well, I'm going to just wait and see what's going to happen? No, he was praying. He was asking the Lord to take the cup from him. If it be your will, Father, not my will, but your will, take this cup from me, man. You can't just sit around and just say, well, Jesus loved the little children, so I know he loves me. He gonna have mercy on me. No, man, you gotta fight. You gotta be willing to give up something, So let me read this one more time. Mark chapter 14 and verse 38. Watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. So this flesh is weak, man. This flesh deals with so much. You can sleep too much, and now you kind of slow, and you kind of still too sleepy. You might eat too much, and you might get sick. You might not eat enough, and you might get sick. You have headaches, backaches. You kind of look at something, and it might be in your mind all day, and you kind of smell something, and it's kind of hard for you to get that sense of that smell away. The flesh. We deal with certain things when it comes to the flesh, but when it comes to the spirit, that's a whole different ball game. That's a different ball game. Let me get this right quick in St. John chapter 6. It's St. John chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at verse 63. St. John chapter 6 and verse 63. And it reads, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Let me read that one more time. St. John chapter 6 and verse 63. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. So you can bring these precepts out, man. When you get tempted to try to watch pornography or masturbate, have you picked up the Bible? Have you picked up the Bible and went into the Word and went into the Psalms and went into your favorite precepts? Have you tried that? Have you tried to get on your knees, face the east, lift up your hands, bow your head down, and call and ask the Lord for strength, and tell Satan to get thee behind you? Have you did that? You have to weigh all of these things in a balance. You can't just say, well, it's too hard. I can't deal with this. I'm giving into it. It's an addiction. You got to call on the Lord. You got to bring these verses out, man. These precepts. You got to be, going back and forth into the Bible, man. You can't just be ready to give up so quick, So let me go to Luke right quick. Let's go to Luke. Let's go to Luke chapter 22. It's the book of Luke chapter 22. And I'm going to start at verse. You can't be willing to give up so quick. Luke chapter 22, and I'm going to start at verse 40. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that you enter not into temptation. I'm going to keep reading down. Verse 41, and he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. So going back to verse 40, you should be praying and asking the Lord that you enter not into temptation, knowing that your flesh is weak. And sometimes you want to give in to the flesh. You have that urge, but you have to pray and ask the Lord that you enter not into temptation, man. That you don't give in to that when certain tests are brought to your doorstep, And just like Christ, just like Hamashiach, he asked the Lord, hey, if it's of your will, please take this away, But if it's not, for it to be taken away, hey, let your will be done, So you should be asking the Lord, the mainly, of course, allow his will to be done, but give you strength, build up your spirit to when tests come your way, hey, you be able to pass that test instead of folding, So I'm gonna go down a little quick to verse 46. Luke chapter 22, verse 46. And said unto them, why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest you enter into temptation. So once you take your mind and your eyes off, the important thing that you should be meditating and thinking about, of course, righteousness, hey, sometimes, hey, you can, fall asleep to, having your spiritual armor on, man, or having your mind fixated on things that you need to have your mind on. Once you take your mind off certain things, hey, Satan might be somewhere plotting on you, like, all right, I got him now, I'm about to get him now, he kind of ain't thinking about it. He kind of ain't watching, he kind of ain't worried and asking the Lord to help him, So that's why it's important to always have, for one, the Bible around you, because you never know when Satan gonna pop up, You might be at the grocery store or something. You might see, a man might see a woman that he's attracted to, and, he might, see something, and a woman, she might see something, or you never know, man. Satan, hey, he's working overtime, trying to get any and everybody to bow down to him, to give up their soul for him, So, hey, you got to pray that you enter not into temptation, So let's go to Colossians right quick. Let's go to the book of Colossians. You gotta be ready at all times, because you're dealing with a spiritual war. Yes, you might lose, battles here and there, and you might fall short, but hey, you gotta keep getting up, man. You gotta keep fighting. You can't just lay down and say, well, it's too hard, man. I'm dealing with a lot, can't find the right woman, or if you're a woman, I can't find the right man, and it's just too hard. So the Lord, he understands what I'm going through. No, man, you can't be thinking like that, man. That's how Satan wants you to think. You can't give Satan power and start leaning to your own understanding. You can't do that, man. That's wicked. So this is Colossians. This is Colossians chapter 3, starting at verse 5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. So you have to cut all of these things off, man. Mortify them, cut them off, cast them out. You got to, or else, hey, they're going to take you out. You going to let your hand keep you from getting into the, one of the 12 gates, Are you going to let your eyes stop you from getting to one of the 12 gates? You know, seeing your king, you know, having all the, you know, the riches and the wealth that was promised to your forefathers. You know, are you going to let these things take you away from what's really worth laying down for, man? You know, you can't do that. You got to cut it off. You got to cast it out, you know, spiritually, you know. So going back, Colossians chapter 3, verse 5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. You know, you got different affections. You know, you might have a certain fetish. You might look at a woman and see something, and you might get turned on by something, or a woman might see a man, and you know, you got women, they you know, be into that sweatpants season, and you got men, they, you know, they be into certain dresses and leggings and all type of wickedness, man. You know, hey, you got to cast it out, man. You got to, you know, turn your head, close your eyes, or, you know, hey, you got to, you know, look at your fringes or something, you know, instead of just eyeballing and keep peeping, man. You know, you can't give in to Satan, man. You gotta tell Satan, get thee behind me. You know, because, hey, he'll bring a lot of stuff around you. Even though you may not go to it, which you shouldn't be going around and going to it, things that you should know what kind of get you to a certain point where it makes you want to have a certain desire or do a certain thing. You know, you gotta be at a level where you know yourself. You know, you can't just be out here walking around like a toddler or a child, man. You got to know yourself. You know, 2 Corinthians 13:5, you know yourself, you know. And evil concupiscence. Concupiscence goes to desires, you know. You know your desires, you know. You should know your evil desires and your righteous desires. You know, you should have a righteous desire to get closer to the Lord, and you should be putting away, you know, those evil desires, and not trying to get closer to Satan. You know. So let's go to Sirach right quick in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 23, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. I'm gonna start at verse 4. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 23, verse 4. And it reads, O Lord, Father, and God of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind. You know, your mind kind of, you know, get to a point where you see something, you kind of start thinking of something, and, you know, you got to ask the Lord that, you know, the renewing your righteous and clean spirit and mind, like King David, you know, in Psalms 51, you know, verse 5. Sirach chapter 23, verse 5. Turn away from me vain hopes and concubines, and thou shalt hold him up that is desires always to serve thee. You know, so yeah, you should be asking the Lord to turn away, you know, thoughts, you know, desires that aren't going to profit you anything, man. That's what you should be asking and praying for, instead of praying that the Lord, you know, give you carnal and materialistic things. You should be asking the Lord, especially on your day that you may be doing things in. You might be on the job, you know, you might be on your day off, you might be around the family or certain things or whatever, you know. You should be asking the Lord to kind of remove some of those wicked things and eliminate some of those wicked things that may come in or that you may be thinking about, and bring in some righteous things, you know. That's what you should be asking about, you know. So let's go to Galatians chapter 5. You know, we should always at least try to have a precept on our mind, a Bible verse on our mind, you know, or at least have something where it can, and try to instead of pulling us away to do evil or to think evil. We got to try to gravitate towards that can have us, be righteous. Galatians chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 16. Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Yeah, you gotta walk in the spirit. You can't, if you on a job or something and there's a woman, or if you're a woman, there's a man that that you kind of like, you may be attracted to, or they always trying to flirt with you or something like that. Hey, you gotta be in the spirit, and you gotta try to stay in the spirit. You kind of gotta try to finesse that situation. Use some wisdom. Say, how you doing? Hey, I'm gonna have to talk to you later. I gotta go do something right quick, or I gotta go use the bathroom. Hey, you can, I gotta use the bathroom. Go to the bathroom and pray, and say, hey, ask the Lord, that you enter not into temptation. Put a hedge around you, something, instead of just being in that moment and playing around with Satan, man. You gotta be in the spirit. You gotta walk in the spirit, instead of trying to walk in the flesh. Somebody try to come up to you, flirt with you, then, hey, you ready to think vain things, man. Thinking like, I wonder what it would be like if I lay down with them, And then if you get somewhere by yourself, you might think about them, and then you might start dealing with yourself, man. So hey, you should know, what can get you to a certain point, and you gotta run away from it. You gotta do a 40-yard dash and run away from it. You got to. And if you watching, pornography and things like that, hey, you gotta eliminate that, man. You gotta, kind of call somebody if you kind of start typing in, kind of just start typing in that site. Hey, man, you gotta call a brother, man. You gotta call the Lord. You gotta do something. You gotta try your hardest to walk in the spirit, and don't walk after the flesh. You kind of want to pull up that nasty site. Hey, man, you gotta, say, well, I need to go on a fast. I need to do this instead of doing that. I need to walk more into the spirit. So let me read this one more time. Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusted against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, which is another word for that would be debauchery, sins in your mind. Verse 20, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies. And when you read the rest of these, these are things that are wicked, which is, the works of the flesh. So you don't want to walk and gravitate towards these things. You want to try to gravitate more towards being righteous. You get tempted to, to pull up those nasty pornography sites, looking at, naked women and naked men deal with each other. Hey, that's off, man. That's nasty. That's wicked, man. And if you're not in the spirit, you might think otherwise. You might say, well, I'm kind of single, well, I haven't did such and such and such in many days or months or weeks or years, so, hey, it's not that bad. No, man, it is bad, man. It's nasty. It's wicked, man. It's evil. Satanic, man. So you got to be in the spirit to see these things, man, and understand these things. Verse 21, Galatians chapter 5 and verse 21, envyings, murderers, drunkenness, revelings, and such and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. You see that? So, you should not want to be in any type of position where you're doing these things or thinking these things or around anybody, because you might have somebody on the job, they might, talk about some lewd, some wicked, some nasty things. You got to walk away, man. You gotta use your wisdom. You gotta get away, Don't stay there and get enticed and get seduced and get chained up and bound up. You gotta kind of get out of there, man. You gotta think about the Lord. You gotta think about, what would Yahweh Shai do if he was in this position? Would I do this if Yahweh Shai was beside me? Would I think this if Yahweh Shai was beside me? What would Moses do? How would Moses be towards me? What would Moses do to me? King David. You got to think come on, man. You got to get some righteous things in your mind, man. So let's go to Ephesians. Go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 2. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 3. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 3. Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh. So you used to talk crazy and talk, some wicked talk and did some things in your past, but now you're an Israelite, man. Now you are an Israelite, the prince of power with God, Yahweh Shai, a daughter of Zion. You can't keep doing the same things that you used to do. You can't keep moving how you used to move. You gotta have some type of moral standards and goals. You have to tap into the spiritual realm. You have to tell yourself, if I continue to do this, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to get cut off. I'm going to get cast out. I'm going to get sifted out. I'm going to get put to death. You have to walk in the spirit. You can't keep letting Satan just, have you all, tossed to and fro, man. You gotta have some type of strength to fight instead of giving up. You got to, when you're by yourself, when you're around others, when a lewd talk is coming out, when vain, wicked talks is coming out. Hey, stop saying, I don't want to be awkward. I don't want to make the scene awkward by walking away. Yes, walk away. Hey, shut that laptop. Do something instead of just giving in to the flesh. So Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3 again. Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. So, you had things in your mind, man. You gotta, try to shake that up, man. Open up the Bible, man. Call somebody that is going to give you some righteous conversation, man. Instead of just being idle, being wicked, being filthy, You gotta do something, Let me get this quick precept right quick. Because you gotta switch up the because Satan, he gonna switch up some stuff. You gotta switch it up too. Let me get this let me get this precept right quick. You gotta do something, man. Let me see, where's this precept at? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 33. And I'm gonna start at verse 26. So like, I'm going to start at verse 27, get straight to the point. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse 27 in the Apocrypha. Send him to labor, that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much teacheth much evil. So like, let me read it one more time. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 verse 27 in the Apocrypha. Send him to labor, that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil. You know, so a lot of times you may be by yourself when you want to type in that, you know, that nasty web, you know, website, you know, you might be by yourself. Hey, you gotta switch it up. You gotta, because this may be your last one that you may get. You know, stop watching pornography, man. It's wicked and it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable in the eyes of the Lord, man. You know, idleness teacheth much evil, as the scriptures say. You by yourself, that's when a lot of times you go off and you just don't know how to get right, and it seems like you always down bad, or you always making bad decisions when you by yourself. Well, you might need to pick up something else, man. You might need to pick up some extra hours on the job. You know, you might need to go to the park, or, you know, go somewhere where you can open up the Bible and study. Get out of the house, do something, instead of just sitting around and, you know, just saying, well, you know, I ain't got nothing else to do. Yeah, you do got something to do. You know, and a lot of this stuff is going to be written and weighed in the balance, you know, and waiting on you in judgment day, man. You know, so let me go to the Job right quick. Let me go to Job. It's the book of Job, chapter 2. It's the book of Job, chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. Job chapter 2 and verse 3. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feared God and eschewed evil. So, when evil and wickedness and folly and madness try to come around Job, what did he do? What does eschewed mean? You know, let's go to the blue letter. Let's see what this is. You know, I already have it noted in my Bible, but, you know, let's just do it for edification. Job chapter 2, and I'm going to go to the blue letter. Job chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 3. Job chapter 2 and verse 3. Let me see. It's like I have my internet turned off. Job chapter 2 and verse 3. To turn aside. Sure.
Strong's H 5493. Sur.
Hebrew word Strong's H 5493. Sure. It says to turn aside, depart, to turn aside, to be removed. You know, reject. I like that one. Reject, you know. So, he eschewed evil, man. You know, didn't let anything, you know, hinder him. You know, so let me read this one more time. Job chapter 2, verse 3. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feared God and eschewed evil? You know, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. So let me get this on integrity. You know, because a lot of people, they don't have no integrity, man. They don't want to deal with integrity. You know, you mighty when you're around others, but why is it when you get home and you by yourself and you start typing in that nasty website, man, that adult website that you have no business being on? You say you're Israelite when you're around others, but when you get home by yourself, you a whole damn demon, man. Start going to work on yourself, man. You know, a hypocrite, lukewarm. You know, you need to ask the Lord and increase your spirit to have some integrity. You know, but we're gonna get into it. We're gonna see what this word is dealing with. You know. Let me see. It's not giving me the definition or the etymology on it that I wanted. May have to use a different one. But nevertheless, you know, it's going into doing what's right even when no one is looking. You know. Innocence. You know. That's the only thing it gives me, innocence. But let's try to get another definition. Even though we just doing it for edification. Integrity. This is Oxford Dictionary. The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Moral uprightness. You know. So, hey, you gotta have some type of standards, man. Some principles. Mainly discipline. You wanna have some discipline as well. You know. So let me go to Psalms right quick. Let's go to Psalms chapter 25, and I'm gonna start at verse 20. Let me see. Psalms chapter 25, and I'm gonna start at verse 21. Psalms chapter 25 and verse 21. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait on thee. So, hey, like King David going into, man, you know, you want to ask the Most High to have, you know, through his power and his spirit to have integrity and uprightness preserve you. You know, while you wait on thee, for I wait on thee, as it says. You know, because you're not waiting on the Lord if you're just giving in to Satan, man, giving into the flesh all the time. We understand that we're gonna fall short, and that we're gonna fall, and we're gonna make mistakes, and things gonna happen. We understand that. You know, that's Isaiah, the 26th chapter. Let me see. I think that's Isaiah chapter 26. You know, and we was also set up to fall short, you know, because we gotta have a shepherd, you know, Christ, Hamashiach, Yahweh, our shepherd. You know, let me see. I think it's thought it was 29. Let me see. It's like y'all. Let me see if I can find this precept right quick. Where's this precept at? Let me see. I thought I remember where it was. Now I gotta find this precept. Let me see. Might be. I gotta find this precept. But yeah, mainly roughly paraphrase is talking about. I may be overlooking it. Kind of gotta shake the dust off this one again. Let me see. Might be overlooking that. Covenant there. So like, let me get this right quick. I think it might be in 64. Let me see. It might be 63. So like it. This is Isaiah chapter 63 and 17. All praise to Yahweh Shem Shah. Isaiah chapter 63 and 17. O Lord, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways and harden our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servant's sake the tribes of thine inheritance. So hey, we was set up to err from our ways that we was once given, man. Righteousness, uprightness, kingdom like, never went off. We was set up different, fell short. Our forefathers provoked the Most High, turned away from the Most High. So now we dealing with these, thoughts and the flesh and, all type of madness, man. So let's go back to Psalms, man. So we have to be 10 times more into prayer and fasting and repenting and, doing all we can, man. So we can at least try to get on a good ground with the Most High. So this is Psalm chapter 25 and verse 21. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I will wait on thee. So let's go to Psalm 26. And I'm going to start at verse 11. Psalm chapter 26 and verse 11. But as for me, I will walk in mine integrity. Redeem me and be merciful unto me. So these are things that you want to ask the Most High to build your spirit up with, because certain things that, some people may have addictions. We're not going to try to act like we too high and mighty, Hey, I used to have a pornography addiction, man. I used to, masturbate to the point where, I was so ashamed of myself, man. Didn't even want to look at myself in the mirror, But hey, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, all praises to the Most High Yahweh Shem Shah. I conquered it, still conquering it to this day, still fighting to this day, and we're more than conquerors, man. Hey, you can do more than just put away this pornography demon, put away this masturbating demon. It's more that you can do, but you have to have faith and you have to believe. You have to, as we just read earlier, in Matthew, and in Mark, ain't nothing impossible when it comes to Yahweh Shah. So you have to walk in the spirit, So let's go to Proverbs right quick. Proverbs chapter 20. Proverbs chapter 20, and we're going to start at verse 7. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 7. The just man walketh in his integrity. His children are blessed after him, So hey, if you want to be a just man, you have to walk in your integrity, man. Be innocent. Do right when no one's looking. Stop always trying to, look mighty when you're around others or be mighty when you're around others, man. You should want to be mighty when you're by yourself as well. Doing all of the things that you can do to be blameless, righteous as possible. Even though there's no man or woman or child, nobody that's in the flesh is going to be, to the T, keeping all the laws, statutes, and commandments. We understand that. There's nobody that's walking on this earth right now that's not having any thoughts that are, you're not having no thoughts like that. You're not having no slip-ups. We understand. We deal with the flesh. But you don't want to add sin unto sin, man. Let me get that right quick in Sirach chapter 5. This This is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha chapter 5. And I'm going to start at verse 5. Get straight to the point. Concerning propitiation, which is atonement, be not without fear to add sin unto sin. So you want to fear the Most High, man. You should be fearing the Most High to the point where you should be telling yourself, and this is one thing that I used to do. I used to tell myself, I was like, man, if I do this one more time, if I masturbate one more time, if I watch pornography one more time, hey, the Most High gonna put me to death. I'm led to believe the Most High gonna put me to death tonight, or when I go to work, or I may not wake up. You should be praying and asking the Most High to increase his fear towards him. Increase your fear more for the Most High, and to have more faith, man. Because that's what it comes down to. You don't think the Most High gonna get up with you. You think you know too much. You think you just because you're on the corners and the highways and byways teaching and waking up the elect, the Most High ain't gonna deal with you. You don't know how the Most High gonna get down, man. You think King Saul was thinking, oh man, I'm about to get cut off, I'm about to get cut down, the Most High about to judge me. And hey, a lot of people, man, they prideful, man. They proud, caught up with themselves, man. They just like that. You don't want to have that mindset. You want to be to the point where the next time you go off, you want to be saying the Most High he about to get me. I know it. The Most High about to get me. You want a contrite heart, and you want a mindset where you damn near don't even want to look at yourself, man. You so ashamed. You don't want to come around nobody. You don't want to teach. You don't want to do videos. You don't want to bring out the word, man. Because you should be put to death. You should have some fear towards the Most High, man. So let me go to Sirach chapter 9 right quick. And a lot of this, man, you gotta kind of turn your head and minimize the chances of you thinking of wicked things and looking at wicked things, man. So this is Sirach chapter 9 and verse 8. Ecclesiasticus chapter 9 and verse 8. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. So a man, he might get to the point where he might see a woman. If he go to the store or something, he might see a woman. Or if he at the job, he might see a woman. Then once he get home, hey, that's all he thinking about, man. He going to work on himself. He thinking about this woman or a woman, man. She may see a man, and when she get alone, that's all she think about. She want to type he or she, Ak or Atwath, when they want to type in certain things on a website, and just start thinking about that person, man. Or they might have some type of desire towards a certain person, or they taking hours on end looking for a certain video, man. Giving all of their time and their strength to Satan, and breaking the law, man. Man spilling his seed. A woman may be dealing with sex toys or something, some wicked folly and madness, satanic, acts. And next thing you know, they just commit all type of abominations, man. So let me get this precept. Sirach chapter 25. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, and I'm gonna start at verse 24. And it reads, of the woman came the beginning of sin. So that's not what I want. That's a mighty precept though. Sirach chapter 25, and I'm gonna start at verse 21. Sirach chapter 25, verse 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. So don't be looking at a woman to the point where you think you just looking at it, you thinking in your mind, man, boy, I wonder how this would be. I wonder how that would be. Or a woman looking at a man, I wonder what this would be like. I wonder how is this. That's wicked, man. Now you done let Satan have total control. He took the keys from you. He cranked the car up, and now he heading in the direction he want to go in. And you don't know where this thing gonna lead to. Now it may lead to adultery. Now it may lead to your family all jammed up. Now it may lead to you about to get some type of disease, HIV, STD, all because you was ready to do what you wanted to do, man. You was like, well, I'm kind of tired of watching porn. I'm kind of tired of dealing with myself. It's time to do the real thing. Hey, that's how Satan will get you, man. It'll start with the wicked videos, and then it'll go to, you dealing with yourself, and then it'll go to, okay, now it's time to get busy, do the real thing, because I want to go up another level. That's how Satan will get you, man. And now you're on your deathbed, Hey, because really, even if you don't get a disease or whatever, the wages of sin is death, man. Like you read about in the book of Romans, So let me get this right quick in the law. Let's go to the law. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And this is going into physical adultery, but hey, you also have spiritual adultery as well, that Yahushua was talking about, man. Let me get that right quick. When you looking at a woman and you thinking things in your mind, or you looking at a man and you thinking things in your mind, So let me get this precept right quick. This is Matthew. Let me see where I'm going to start at. This is Matthew chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 27. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. Verse 28. But I say unto you verse 28, Matthew chapter 5, verse 28. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart, meaning your mind, So Christ, Hamashiach, he said it best himself. If you look at a woman and you think things upon that woman, you've committed adultery, So you can't do that, man. That's going strictly back to the law, which Yahushua, he magnified certain things, made it more spiritual, because the law had things that wasn't being touched, it wasn't, being dealt with in a way that, we should have dealt with certain things, man. So I'm gonna jump down to verse 17. Exodus chapter 20, verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. You see that? So, you can't be looking at another man's wife, man, and wanting to deal with her. And this is a wicked society that we live in. The music promotes it, the movies promotes it, and that's all you hear and see now. These young teenagers and these young boys and girls and women and men. Hey, that's all they deal with, man. Your man don't know what he doing with you. Or if I was your woman, I give you the business. Hey, that's wicked, man. That's idolatry, as we just read in Galatians. That covetousness, that spirit is of Satan, man. You have to put this away, You got to. So I'm about to wind down. And if you on the highways and byways, and if you are out there teaching and you dealing with these things, hey, you just a straight up hypocrite, man. You have to tell yourself that I'm a hypocrite and I have to repent. I have to do better than this. Cause this is madness. So this is Sirach chapter 37 and verse 19. Cause we all deal with things. We're not gonna try to act like we squeaky clean. We don't have no blemishes. We don't have no faults, and our garment is spotless. We have Yahweh Shah for a reason. He's our advocate. We go to him when we fall short, and we have to get things in order. But you can't just be doing things just to be doing things and willfully giving in to the spiritual demon Satan. This is Sirach chapter 37 and verse 19. Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha chapter 37 verse 19. There is one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. See that? So check that out, man. You out here telling people to get themselves together, get their life together, and do this and do that. But as soon as you go home, you get by yourself, you freaking off, going to work on yourself, man. Eyeballing nasty, wicked things, man. That's off. We got to do better than that, So I'm gonna maybe get one more and then I'm gonna kind of close out. My thing about to die right here. This is 1 Corinthians. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And let's start at verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 9. And it reads, but if they cannot contain, and this is Apostle Paul going into marriage, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 9. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn, So strictly what he's going into, it's better for you to find you somebody that you can walk this walk of faith with, that you can court first, get to know, and y'all can sit down and get into similarities and things that y'all believe in and get to know each other better. It's better to deal with a woman as a man, and as a woman, you can deal with a man, instead of burning in your lust, and just, getting tossed with the wind to and fro, thinking you waiting on the Lord, but you about to be waiting on your judgment, because you giving it to the spiritual demon Satan, So I'm going to get this last precept through the Spirit. Revelation chapter 16. This is Revelation chapter 16. And I'm going to start at verse 15. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth. The Lord is coming when you least expect him. You best believe that. He may come with, if you ever try to, duck and dodge this video, thinking you can just watch pornography with no judgment that may come from it, and masturbate with no judgment that may come from it, and think about wicked and folly and madness. He gonna come when you least expect him. Comes like a thief. You don't know when a thief gonna come. A thief, somewhere taking pictures, somewhere clocking to see what time you're leaving, what time you're coming, what's going on. Might got some type of high level microphone, hear your conversations. Best believe, the Lord is more mightier than that. Revelation 16 and 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. See that? That's my last precept through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shah. Lord willing, this video is edifying to you. I don't count this as a light thing to do so. Giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Yahweh, who the word uses the title God, and Yahweh Shah, who our Lord and Savior name will be Christ, through the Spirit. Lord willing, this was edifying to you. Continue to keep these laws, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. Continue to repent, do all you can to the second come of my shot, Yahweh Shah. Continue to keep your spiritual strength intact, because you have to strengthen up these things, and you have to be ready to cut off these things that may hinder and try to cast you into the outer parts, dealing with the spiritual demon Satan. Brother Hosea, fisherman for Zion, all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. All glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Lord willing, this is edifying to you. Peace and blessing to you. Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom.